The 1000th Formula One race has been and gone, and there is a lot to talk about in this sport, but not a lot of it has to do with the action on track. It wasn't a classic, but it has thrown up some interesting questions. And Nicolas Tot in the green jacket there, Charles Leclerc's manager, looks like he's getting some answers from Mattia Binotto as to exactly what happened with Ferrari's team strategy today. Mercedes started the race 1-2, Ferrari 3-4, Vettel third, Leclerc fourth. Leclerc got the better start and led his teammate for the opening stanza of the race. Sebastian then asked to be let through. It was a slight moment of a Alonso Massa back in the day. Fernando is faster than you. Of course, we all knew at the time Fernando wasn't faster than Felipe. Was Sebastian faster than Charles today? It gave the team a headache. They switched the positions, but then with the strategy that they employed, lost a 3-4 and finished 3-5 by leaving Charles out longer than anybody thought really made much sense. He ended up losing 20 seconds in total to his teammate and finishing behind the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. Anyway, up at the front of the field, Lewis Hamilton had got ahead of pole sitter Valtteri Bottas and screamed away to record victory in this, the 1000th Formula One race. So should we talk to the top three? I think we should. It is Lewis Hamilton who won the day, Valtteri Bottas who finished P2, Sebastian Vettel who finished P3. Considering you said that you felt you'd kind of fallen out with this circuit over the last few years, that was quite a day today.
Definitely was. Yeah, the race was a lot different, but the race was different because through the weekend, the cars, like this year and last year, the cars really not liked how I drive at this track. So if you look at the past, I was always really quick here. My aggressive driving style worked really well. And then I used that coming in the last 2 years, and the tires would not allow it, the car would not allow it, and seemed to have lost a lot of performance. And I really had to be quite dynamic to change your natural driving style, shift to a different way. And I only really got there at the end, towards the end of qualifying. And then in the race, it was a little bit back towards what the normal driving style would be. So once I got in the lead, I was able to maintain position and do what I needed to do what I do. So I'm really grateful, but the team has done an incredible job, and I had no idea that we would have 3 1-2s so early on in the season, because it's not like I don't feel like we're the dominant team, but I think our overall process has been more solid. Platform, pit stops, performance in qualifying, just very, very, very much operating at the super high 90 percentile.
You bring that up, it is the most successful start to a season in over 25 years. 1992 was the last time there were 3 1-2s in the first 3 races. So how representative is that of the job you guys are doing as a team? Double stack pit stops today, strategy on point, all those kind of things.
Yeah, that is incredible. And on top of that, Valtteri's really stepped up this year, and he's really punching and delivering. I think last year he was on the podium second here, and I didn't deliver. I didn't back him up as a team, as a teammate. Been as quick as I should have. So it takes both of us and the whole team to be operating all 6 cylinders, and I think at the moment we are.
A race, I guess, that was decided pretty much on the run down to turn 1, but a strong drive from you today.
Yeah, unfortunately, had some wheel spin at the start. There was this white line just after the starting box from the first position. So when I went over that, I got some wheel spin. Same on the formation lap start and also in the race start. So a bit of a shame. Need to have a look what could have done better on that. But after that it was difficult. With the same car than Lewis, not much pace difference. I think he had strong first stint, and then stint 2, 3 pretty similar. But could be worse.
Third 1-2 in a row for the team. It's the strongest start to a Formula One World Championship since 1992. How is the vibe down at the team? Did you expect this at the start of the season?
We aimed for this at the start of the season, but we didn't expect it, So you never know how it's gonna go. But obviously we've been able to maximize every single weekend so far. It's a long season ahead, but it's a good start.
Well, we're a bit too slow, so I'm not entirely happy. Obviously happy to get the podium, but not happy with the pace we had today. We were hoping to have better pace and be a match for Mercedes, but we were not.
How much of a surprise has it been that you haven't been able to compete for the 2 Grand Prix in Australia and here with Mercedes as much as testing might have predicted you would?
Well, you never know what people are doing during testing, but I think we still have a good car. I think we're still not able to unlock it completely, so we're learning a lot, more than recent years in terms of what we're missing. So it's good to get a lot of laps in a row to feel the car, and hopefully soon we will be able to find what is causing, let's say, the weakness at this stage, to catch up.
Obviously, to win a World Championship, you need every point that you can get. A 3-4 in the race became a 3-5. How important is the debrief going to be so you get the strategy right in the future?
Oh, well, I think it was all right. Obviously, a bit of a shame that Charles couldn't get back to Max. But it was a bit of a tricky one. I think we tried everything, so with hindsight it's always easy, but I think we just need to be faster, and if we're faster we have a better chance of scoring more points, simple as that.
So the interesting strategy decision at Ferrari ultimately allowed Max Verstappen to finish P4. He had a good race today, albeit one which for a lot of the time was quite lonely. We heard Sebastian Vettel talking about his little moment with Max in the race itself. It was the only moment they really got close to one another. After that, for Max, it was quite a solitary race, but he had put the Ferraris under pressure, I think possibly leading to that choice, that odd strategy decision that Ferrari made in the race itself. Let's hear from Max then. A P4 result today for the Red Bull driver, probably an unexpected one when the lights went out. Great drive today. Looked fairly lonely though for you.
Lonely. I mean, I always had a Ferrari inside, but we just couldn't really attack them. But we did a good job as a team to undercut one of the Ferraris at least. So for us, 4 today was the maximum.
Does it show the performance, the potential within the car that you are able, and you have been over these first few races, to take it to Ferrari and mix it with them?
We still need a bit more, but at the moment we are just collecting good points. So I just hope that soon we can move up a little bit.
And so to the man of the moment, the man of the early part of the season, and the man giving Ferrari a bit of a headache, Charles Leclerc. Before the season started, Mattia Binotto was asked, will the drivers get equal treatment? He said no, we'll favour Sebastian in the early part of the season. He was asked again a little bit later and he said no, they'll be allowed to race each other. Australia, Charles was told don't pass Sebastian. Bahrain, Charles was told to wait. He ignored that second one and passed him because he was much faster. Today, third race, third call, again went in Sebastian's favour over Charles' favour. Earlier in the weekend, Mattia was asked, are the drivers free to race? He said, we will still be favouring Sebastian in this early part of the season until we have a reason not to. Do they have a reason not to? You might think politically Ferrari wanted to favour Sebastian, 4-time world champion, don't want to upset him. But have they just lit the touch paper? Have they ignited the fuse of a ticking bomb at the team by potentially taking away what might have been a second career podium finish for Charles Leclerc today? One thing is for certain, you don't win championships unless you have both drivers amassing as many points as possible. Ferrari had a 3-4 today. They finished with a 3-5.
Obviously the start was good, then the first stint was, I think we were both struggling, myself and Seb, with the tyres. Mercedes seems to be pretty strong compared to us. Then obviously we swapped. I struggled behind Seb with the tyres. I thought he would have pulled away, but he didn't much, so my tyres overheated. I lost a little bit of time. And then, obviously I had a lot of questions about the strategy. I think the reason behind it is for the team's benefit. We tried to slow down the Mercedes by keeping me a bit longer on track, which I understand. We tried, it didn't work, unfortunately. And we'll look forward. Hopefully we'll come back stronger the next race.
How much work needs to be done in debrief to look into strategy, given that it didn't, you had a 3-4 and you've come home 3-5?
Yeah, but we tried at least to have a 2-5, which will have been a bit more points. So we tried it. Obviously it didn't work today, but we'll try to work to see what we could have done better.
Some people would look at the first 3 races and say 3 times the team orders have been made not in your favour. Do you believe that you and Sebastian are on equal terms, or is it very much towards him at the moment?
For now, obviously, I think Mattia made it clear in a 50-50 situation he will be in front. Now I just need to understand today what was the reason behind this, and hopefully I'll have a valid answer.
Now, if much of the talk here in the paddock after the 1000th Formula One race and the third of this year is about strategy going wrong, here's a team that got strategy absolutely right. Pierre Gasly wasn't on the same pace as Max Verstappen today, that much is absolutely clear, still struggling a little bit with the balance of his car. However, had such a gap over 7th place Daniel Ricciardo that he was able to take a final pit stop with a couple of laps left, put on the soft tyres and gun for fastest lap, which he got, and got the extra point that goes along with it. So 3 races in, we are starting to see teams utilising this fastest lap point to add into their strategy. Let's talk to Pierre about a day in which he gained a little more comfort, a little more knowledge of his car, and of course, fastest lap point to go along with it.
It wasn't really the plan, but we saw we had a free pit stop in the end and decided to go for it. And for sure, happy to get my first fastest lap in Formula One. It's always something special. This is a positive of the day.
How comfortable were you, or not, with the car? Is that a positive you can take out of today? Was it any better than the first 2 races?
I will say every weekend gets one step better in terms of feeling inside the car. I would like it to do 3 steps each time and each weekend, so things are going a bit slowly, and hopefully we can find a way to improve it a lot faster. But I think we know what to improve. I know what to improve on my side, and I'll keep working. And I think I had quite a lonely race, so I could try different things, a lot of different things. I didn't have anyone in front of me, no one behind me, and probably get a few answers, and we'll keep pushing and focus on the next ones.
Good qualifying for Renault on the Saturday, P7, P8. Drivers would have been happy with that at the checkered flag. Weren't accounting for a very fast starting Sergio Perez, who nipped ahead of Nico Hülkenberg at the start of the Grand Prix. He had pretty solid pace from that point on, but issue with the car, had to call it a day, didn't see the checkered flag, fears that it is another engine related, potentially MG UK issue down here at Renault. 3 races in then, 3 races with problems for a Renault power unit. This chap though, finally on the scorecards, P7 for Daniel Ricciardo at the flag. He would have been happy with that. He said this morning he'd be happy with that at the checkered flag, and happy he was.
I wanted to finish for sure, get a few laps in, make sure I still had the strength to do a race distance. I'm pretty strong. Back's pretty stiff, but I'm pretty strong. It was good to get points. Perez kept me honest the whole race, so it wasn't actually easy, even though I was 7th, I think, from lap 1 till the end, but it wasn't that straightforward. So happy to get it done and happy for the team. I just found out at the end, I suspected Nico didn't finish, but I obviously found out now that he didn't. And so still obviously there's work to do from a reliability point of view to get both cars home, but we'll take the little positive today and good points.
These guys are still at a point of trying to understand what is a very new car, but 3 races into the season, 3 races finished in the points, I think going massively against expectation for the team and the drivers, but showing what a good job they're doing. Now, both Lance Stroll and Sergio Perez had phenomenal starts, as we've become accustomed to with them both, but it was Sergio Perez who was the workhorse today, once again coming home in the points for the team. A P8 for him at the checkered flag. Lance Stroll a couple of places out of the points, but another strong race, and an unexpectedly strong race for a team and a bunch of drivers still trying to get used to a new car.
Good start, let's say. Given the pace of the car at the moment, is what we have to do to try to get the most out there, try to score some points. Is what we did, and looking forward for the coming race. I think Baku should be a lot better again. So as I say, what we have to do is just to keep scoring while the car is not where we want it to be.
Many people had expected Alfa Romeo to shine in the early races of 2019, but it hasn't proven quite as easy as a lot of people thought it would. But Kimi Raikkonen once again doing a phenomenal job this weekend. It was a weekend that hadn't gone to plan for them. They hadn't looked really top 10 pace-wise all the way through. But Kimi Räikkönen battled through. P9, really strong race from him once again. Antonio Giovinazzi, difficult weekend. He really doesn't seem to like this place or feel at one with it. P15 for him at the flag. We're going to hear from Kimi, though, another strong race from the Iceman. Phenomenal drive today. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, a little bit less than last race. Obviously, there was more racing in the previous one, but yeah, generally I think the car was good, and just in the end we lost the front tires a bit, so more probably the temperature that it get too cold and switch off really. So it's a shame because I felt that we had the speed to fight. I was saving the tires and planning to fight in the last laps, but yeah, that's right.
3 races, 3 very different types of circuit. You must be feeling pretty good about things.
Yeah, like today in the race the car was very good and I enjoyed, but unfortunately yesterday we were not that strong that we were hoping for, so we need to, I think we understood already some things, but yeah, I think if we can get the qualifying better, we can have a much more, let's say, free race, and I think we have the speed to be on top of them, the guys around us, so yeah, we'll keep fixing things and try to make it fast.
A lot of promise for Toro Rosso this weekend, and perhaps will be a weekend of what might have been for them. Clearly had top 10 pace in the car. Alex Albon, though, crashed at the end of FP3, didn't take part in qualifying, started today's race from the pit lane. Danny Kvyat had contact on lap 1 with the 2 McLarens of Sainz and Norris. He ended up getting a penalty for that. There will be question marks as to whether or not that was entirely deserved or whether indeed it was slightly harsh. Personally, I'd lean towards the slightly harsh. When we spoke to him after the race, he says he's going to go and speak to the stewards about it because he wants to know exactly what on earth their decision making rationale was, as he believed it was a clear racing incident. Anyway, there I'm sure will be some arguments and differences of opinion on that. One thing of which I think there can be no difference of opinion, however, is of the incredible job done today by Alex Albon, who just continues to impress in his early career in Formula One. Started from the pit lane, came home in the points in P10, got driver of the day voted for by the fans around the world for his brilliant drive, had to hold off the Haas of Romain Grosjean, which had much newer tyres on at the end of the race. Albon, who one-stopped for the Grand Prix. Brilliant drive from the guy. Pit lane to points, driver of the day, and deservedly so.
It's still a little bit weird to me because you don't really follow the race when you're doing it, and they told me okay 10th, but I thought okay, yeah, that was a good race, but then when I came in, like, oh, that was a really good race. okay, yeah, I guess it was quite good. But no, really happy. I think it's just a big thank you to the team, because obviously after FP3 it was looking a little bit gloomy, shall we say, and I was a little bit downbeat. Obviously replacing the chassis, the guys did a really good job last night. So yeah, this is for them. This point is very well deserved, I think, and yeah, happy. I was a bit squeaky bum time with Grosjean coming at the end, but I think the back markers played a good part in that. We could. I was kind of thankful that everyone was coming, catching us, and happy to hold it off.
What does it say about this car that you were able to one-stop, look after the tyres, and that you had the pace to finish where you did?
Yeah, definitely. I think we saw it in FP2, and actually we were quite not in disbelief, but we were a bit sceptical that we were that good in FP2. So I know, like in our briefings we were a bit like, we know we're good, but we don't. Are we that good? And it turns out, yeah, we were. We were really good on tyres. So we showed it already a little bit, even in Bahrain. We couldn't really show it too much, but I knew we were good on tyres there as well. But yeah, happy.
Now, the Bahrain Grand Prix had been pretty miserable for Haas. They lost all of their race performance. Now, coming here, they started off the weekend pretty badly, couldn't get the tyres turned on, really struggling for pace. It all came good on Saturday with both cars in the top 10. However, neither car finished in the points come Sunday. Romain Grosjean P11, Kevin Magnussen P13. What was the reason for that? We asked the Frenchman.
I was a bit worried, to be fair, before the start, because our race pace hasn't been amazing all weekend. We are good on one lap, the car is amazing, but as soon as the cars got 2 laps, we're not there anymore, so we need to understand exactly what happened. I think without the blue flag at the end, we would have had a point. Alex did a great job defending well and not making any mistakes, so congrats to him. But yeah, just so annoying to give it all and push hard and just not get the chance to score points.
After showing much promise in Bahrain, McLaren were adamant arriving here in China it would be a bit of a crash down to earth, and so it proved. Actually quite a physical crash down to earth on the first lap. 3 into 1 quite simply didn't go. Danny Kvyat, Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris all trying to get through. Was it turn 6? I think it was turn 6 together. Kvyat clocked into Sainz, the result of which clocked into Norris. Depends how you look at it. I think Norris got a bit of a wiggle coming out of 6, which ultimately kind of bulked the guys behind. They made contact, then contact into him. Anyway, Danny it was who got the drive through. Both of these guys' races were pretty much ruined at that point. Carlos managed to bring his car home in P14. Lando Norris ultimately had to retire from the race, having gone airborne and crashing down and doing an awful lot of damage to his car. So yes, back to earth with a bit of a bump for McLaren. No points on the board today.
No, just to retire in the end. So I guess it's never going to be a good day if that happens. But yeah, after the contact in turn 6, I couldn't come back from that at all. I had too much damage. Was way behind. Obviously lost a lot of time. Double stacking with Carlos in the pit lane because we both had too much damage, and I don't know if he had a puncture or something, but yeah, it was not a good first lap for the team through no fault of our own, and made my race a bit more boring and not as entertaining as what I would have liked. But it happens in Formula One, so hopefully this is I would say not the first of many, but the first of a couple of things which will happen in Formula One, which we just got to deal with and move on from.
Another tough weekend for Williams, but we can at least say this. What the car lacks in speed, it makes up for in reliability. Both cars seeing the checkered flag once again today. Tricky race for them. They did start ahead of some faster cars and were able to have a bit of fun in those opening laps trying to keep them behind, but that was pretty much as good as it got. A lonely afternoon for the two Williams drivers, but a lot more mileage, a lot more understanding, a lot more learnt, and those little incremental gains that will prove so important in getting them back into that midfield battle.
In the opening laps, we were holding on to everybody else in front, so we were thinking, this is fairly all right. But then when things settle down, the gap starting to open. But at the end of the day, that's where we're at the moment, and got to see the positives.
It's another race making it to the flag, so even if the pace isn't there, the reliability at least looks good.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, you've got to take the positives in every situation, I think, and that is one of them. But obviously, we'd all prefer a bit more pace and maybe less reliability, who knows.
So that is your lot from Shanghai, from Paddock Pass, and from race 1000. Next up, 1001. A race odyssey. Perhaps. No. As we said, I don't think it's going to go down in the annals of history as one of the greatest Grand Prix of all time. It has, however, given us questions, if we didn't already have them, as to how Ferrari will deal with the headache that is Charles Leclerc. I asked Binotto about this on Friday after the team boss press conference. I said, he's a nice headache to have. He said, we don't see him as a headache. He's an asset, and in Bahrain, he was the benchmark. How do they solve the problem that they have? Do they let their drivers race? Do they favour Sebastian? It's such a difficult one to answer, but they have to find the answer because at the moment Mercedes are streaking away. This wasn't supposed to be like this. This wasn't supposed to be a Mercedes dominance. This was supposed to be Ferrari's year. Everything we saw pre-season and everything that we saw in Bahrain, which seemed to play into pre-season testing, said that this was Ferrari's time. And yet Mercedes have, with 3-1-2 finishes in a row, had the most successful start to a Grand Prix season since Williams in 1992. That's fact. And they are operating at such a high level, they are going to be very, very difficult to beat. Ferrari have got to get their head in the game if they're going to take it to them. Can't wait to see how this all starts to pan out in Bahrain in 2 weeks' time. Join us there. For now, though, from us here in Shanghai, we'll see you later.